Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Bronze Anna. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. So let's see how our Bronze Anna does.
We will complete our mission.
Hello? Anyone out there?
That's a lot of armor. So I guess you are a pretty big target.
Okay, so this is early. I don't at all mind you peeking this and going for, hey, I want to get my opening nade, or maybe I want to get my opening nade plus shot if you're particularly greedy, but they can see through you through windows. They do, in fact, have the ability to go, hey, those are windows in the doors. They can see you through them. It's much easier for them to see you through those windows than vice versa, so we're not going to do this at 9 seconds left, unless it's going to take 9 seconds for our nade to travel through the air and land there, which is not what we're doing here. So, we wouldn't just stand here at a time. Nope. We're giving them extra opportunity to see us.
5, 4, 3, 2,
You could have stepped out now for this.
1. Attackers incoming. This is going to
I don't really want to repeat that. I especially don't want to repeat that after I've seen this Widow shot. Like, nope, I have no interest in picking this. When I didn't know what they had, hey, I'm going to do the nade. It could hit multiple people. I'm going to get some good ult charge. Turns out I'm going to throw a nade and my Ashe is going to throw a TNT. Maybe we'll even, through some combination, be able to get an elimination through that. But as soon as I see this Widow sightline, I'm not repeaking. I'm leaving. I probably wouldn't repeak even if I didn't see this. No, you're chancing the Widow. I know that the Rhein's there, and you're thinking, hey, maybe the Rhine can heal for me, but we're still not interested. We're definitely not going to be breaking that shield with Anna shots. We're done. Like, this opening move was just about the nade.
go.
Unfortunate. Please get yourself behind the cover.
I'm not paying you for your acting ability. Get moving!
This is pretty in the open. So, what's our rewind set to? Boom. No, not 25. Here we are. There's our Rhine. We healed our Rhine. We see that, and that's an enemy, so I'm potentially good with this, because I think what you're trying to do with this nade, I think you're trying to get both the Sigma and your D.Va. This nade over here is a little too defensive. It's a little too D.Va-centric for my taste. I'd have preferred it to be a little more like here-ish, maybe even a little here-ish, but you think the Sigma is pushing, so I get it. I just would have preferred it a little more to the left. This is like leaning D.Va. We really want it to be the compromise, if anything, leaning aggressive. Purples are generally better than amps, because purples are the opponents get 0 healing. Amps are your teammate gets 50% increased receive healing for additional shots that you hit on them. Well, your D.Va, well, she's sort of in trouble because she's a little separated. She's not in that much trouble. We really want the purple more. We want both, but we want the purple a little bit more. Yes, I was. Okay. Sorry, I don't remember what yes, I was in reference to. Were you trying to heal the D.Va? Were you staying here too long? Sorry, I don't remember what yes, I was in reference to. But glad to have you here. Okay, didn't even quite reach the D.Va. Unfortunate, but now you're just going to heal D.Va a bit.
Watching your back.
Sure. Try and get both. Perfect. Okay, yeah, we don't like that. So I can live with this. Your D.Va's not in trouble. Now heal your Ashe. Heal your Ashe with a shot. Oh, okay, we did that. We still don't need this. I know people are missing health. You're going to hit 4 people with this nade. It seems really good. But, like, even though you're getting group AoE healing benefit out of this, it now means we don't have our nade for threatening them. And, like, they weren't in that much danger. Again, I'm gonna go this slow. This nade gets some efficiency value. Like, I can't be super critical of this nade. You hit 4 people. I'm going to live with that. You didn't need the nade there, so you really only hit 3 people. Like, I'm not going to be critical of that because it does mean, hey, you have more time to use your shots, but I really want to make sure you get shot value out of these if that's where you're going. No, you can't stand here. You can't stand here. Why are you here? Why does this look like a place that you think you should be? You were here, maybe you were greeting here to get the 4-person multi-nade off. You have no cover. Your cover is over here, your cover's over here, your cover could be back here. You have no cover options. And it's going to take you a good 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds to get to cover from this spot. We don't want to be here. The enemies can shoot at us and there's nothing we can do. And we can't even self-heal with a nade to buy ourselves more time to get to cover. So after that whole nade thing where we go, hey, I'm group healing my team, and maybe it's not a purple, but it's healing a lot of people, so I'm going to live with it. Sure, fine, whatever. But then please get yourself out to where you can play from with cover, not out here in the open. Okay. Oh boy. Nade yourself, nade yourself, nade yourself. You can sleeper if it comes to it. Right idea. Okay. You tried. You got yourself nade. You got McCree out of it too. Great. Leave or go to point. Going to point is fine. Okay.
My ultimate is ready. I'll be right there. Objective lost. Stop the payload.
What are we waiting on? Are we typing? Typing is really just being AFK. We don't really want to stop and type things. If it's worth saying, say it in voice chat. If you don't want to use voice chat, that's fine. Don't use voice chat. But that doesn't mean then go type it on your keyboard either. Our keyboard is for controlling our heroes. That's what our keyboard is for. This isn't quite what a keyboard looks like. But hey, our keyboard is for controlling our heroes, not for typing. Typing is the same interface that we use to control our heroes, so we can't control our hero. And you might think, oh, it was between fights I had time. Well, no, because that's time that you can use to rotate to a position you want to take the next fight from, to rotate to a position you want to take the next fight from, to do a little bit of scouting, to look around and go, okay, I understand where things are. Like, you're not controlling your hero when you're doing that. Typing is being AFK. If it's worth saying, you say it in voice, and if you don't want to say it in voice or don't want to be in voice, that's totally fine.
Zenyatta is here.
You can sleep? Okay. That would have been a good opportunity to try and protect your Diva with the sleep, because the Reaper wasn't looking at you and wasn't going to raise dodge it. But that's fine. And if you miss, no big loss. Oh, almost. It'll wake up better if you hop off and on. You need to get off it and then back on. Okay. And now you just go to Karn. This fight is over. Well, should be over. Okay, you're in this. Tuck left, tuck left. Your team's going to be in this. Okay. Probably didn't need to nano the Bob. If you look at the situation, you want to use your nano in fights where it's going to be a difference maker. And even though, yes, your team was in trouble here, your team's now really turned this fight. Like, I'm looking at this, and I'm not worried at all about your team anymore. But, hey, it's still close enough. I'm being too strict for bronze like I was with that nade. This is fine. And the high noon did come in after you deployed the nano. Or the trigger got pulled after you applied the nano, so all good.
And watch the scenery. I have a lot invested. Now the bad guys. Heads up. Well met.
You don't actually want to shoot the Orisa with these shots. I like that you're going for an offensive shot. I don't necessarily love your positioning, but I like that you're going for an offensive shot here. But your shot is definitely on the BAP. It's really easy for BAP to heal. It is really easy for BAP to heal Orisa with right clicks. Really easy, not going to pressure him. This Orisa isn't taking a ton of other damage, so your damage isn't heavy pressure on her. It's pretty hard for BAP to heal himself. Now, BAP has an easier time healing himself than, say, you do as Ana, but he's going to have to use his shift. And he doesn't want to do that. So if you can get an early shot or two on him on this approach without taking damage yourself, you get his shift out of him, and then he doesn't have that for later in the fight. And that might mean your McCree gets the jump on him, or it might mean your Diva D.Va dives him later. Or it might mean 6 seconds later you find another opportunity to take a shot on him, and then he has to play very, very safe because he's missing health and doesn't have his shift. And that's going to cause him to contribute less. Like if he's playing very, very safe, he's going to contribute less. So we really would prefer to put our offensive shots when we can onto squishies, and even supports are great, but onto squishies. Supports have more trouble healing themselves than they do other people, and it's a bigger deal to them when they get hit for 60 damage or so than it is to these tanks here. But a much bigger percentage of their health, and you have a very, very accurate weapon when you're scoped like that, so let's take advantage of it and try to get the shot on the BAP. Yeah. First shot might have been a try on the BAP, but the second shot, for some reason, you continued on the Orisa. And even that she's now at half health, still not worth it. You'd prefer the BAP. Now you could potentially follow up on her.
This is going to hurt.
But you can already see you've been here too long. You can already feel like, wait, this is too dangerous. I'm at a little bit of an off angle, perhaps. But I'm really too close to this enemy team. There's no one in front of me. There's not like a Reinhardt that's in front of me swinging. There's not like a D.Va up here pressuring downwards. There's not like an Orisa shooting from here. There's not a Reaper holding this. I'm a little too close to this enemy team, and it's time for me to skedaddle. It really was time for you to skedaddle a second ago, but hey. I wouldn't skedaddle through the mid. I'd actually just say, hey, let's go down this alley. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't look to me like our team's ready to take this, regardless of the work you've done to get Fortify out. Okay. Again, I don't really want to be here, but good to hit the sleep.
You're covered.
I don't want to stay this close. Okay. Do you hear that? Good.
Being announced.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this will just be a clean win.
I have your double.
So you knew that McCree was there. You did hear him clomping around with his boots earlier. You wanted to nade this. Yeah. So you immediately want to go, hey, I have 58 health. I'm absolutely willing to nade for myself and D.Va here. Self nades, no problem, especially if your other support isn't paying attention to you. And if we can make our self nade better by also getting someone else with it, totally great.
This will help.
You don't need to walk at him. You have a sniper rifle. You have a sniper rifle. You can take your shot at him. And if you feel like, no, I need to get closer to sleep, why do you need to get closer to sleep? If you miss your sleep, no big deal. He's a million miles away from you. She's a million miles away from you. And you go, yeah, okay, I missed my sleep, but I'm still safe. I'm not going to be punished for not having my sleep because I'm a million miles away. If I get closer to do this sleep, you get more shots to shoot at me. I'm potentially more dangerous if people come out to support you. I didn't need to get closer to this. Okay, you're going to nade yourself on D.Va's butt again. No, now you're just going to nade yourself. Nade yourself.
My ultimate
You
is
do
ready.
want to get that nade rolling. If you've decided that you're going to use the nade to heal yourself, you want to get it on cooldown sooner rather than later so that it's closer to being back up. And there's no question that you're going to nade yourself if you don't already have a Harmony Orb on you. Okay, there's the Harmony Orb. I don't want you this close, though. Like, again, I would be so much happier if you were playing from here, playing a little more. Like, this is still really too close. Like, we want you at a little bit of an angle, maybe, but we want you a bit further away and with cover. You could even be playing from up here, though it's not great. But, like, we don't want you this close to the fight as Ana. It's not your place. You're granny sniper. Got our purple. We're trying to also get her.
You look tired.
That's just fun. Do you hear behind you again? It's the McCree doing the same thing. Immediately nid. Right idea.
Lights out.
Nice sleep. Okay. So this was a little bit dangerous.
Lights out.
This is a little dicey because you've hit your sleep and your sleep lasts 5 seconds and you can see your nade is 5 seconds away. So you can't go necessarily for your sleep or for your shoot nade shoot combo. You can't wait that long, but you can go, wait a second, I want to shoot. I don't want to just shoot because there's too much delay there. So like a shoot melee shoot, that could make sense. Oh well. Is Anna supposed to play back even if the opposing team had flankers or dive? Not necessarily. That's not like a 100% thing. Now, it's not quite that simple because the opposing team playing dive, if they have to cross a big open space, you still want to be back because you'd prefer to poke them, you'd prefer to chip them, you'd prefer to get them weak before they get to you. So yeah, playing back still makes sense. But yes, you can. The thing that you're asking is, does Nana get more vulnerable if there's a lot of like Genji, Tracer, Sombra, Winston, Ball, Diva on the other team for her to worry about? And the answer is yes. If she plays further from her team, she's a little more vulnerable. She could have still in this situation played very much back with her Zen. So it's like, hey, her Zen was playing here, she plays here. They have cover available. They can protect each other. She can heal the Zen can heal her. Like, that's fine. That would have been better than being up here and running up here and being here. So, yes, if you're playing against dive, you might play a little tighter to your team. That can be a thing, especially if you were playing as a brawl comp versus dive. You're going to stand more with your team, but that's not what's going on here. Right now, we're playing into an Orisa Sigma. The McCree's flanking, but that's it. He's the only one flanking, and you don't have some great fear of McCree flanking on you. In fact, you playing with cover is going to help you against a McCree flanking on you, as opposed to playing in the open. Would make you harder to get flanked.
Trailer is that way, you imbeciles!
Don't get caught!
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Yeah, so this isn't amazing. Here you are.
It's just a scratch. You'll be
And you
fine.
decide you want to go look for stagger damage. And I don't mind that. 4 of them are eliminated. It's a little scary which 2 aren't. One of them's a Widow, but she's not scoped. But this is probably the limit of your contribution. If your Rhine is pulling back, you don't want to be last one out. Because when the fight actually breaks down, when the fight actually happens formation-wise, you would like it to be some sort of setup where your tanks are roughly in front and you're roughly further back with cover. That's a setup that you'd like. Like, maybe you have your Rhine here, your Diva up here, you're back here, your Zen's over here, like we talked about, and then maybe you have an Ashe up here and a McCree over here. Maybe this is a setup that you'd like. Well, if you want to be here when the fight actually starts, you can't be in front of your team as they're beginning to respawn, come back, etc., because by the time these guys are ready to take the fight, you'll still sort of be flipped. You'll still sort of be in front of your team, or you'll just be like here on your way back when your teams are here. And then you'll be super close together and they can run through your team and get you. We don't want that. We don't want chip damage that's meant for your team to accidentally hit you because you're too close. Or them to intentionally force their way through because you're too close. You're staying. Ooh, this is dangerous. And now you're scoped when there's a Widow on the board. She's discorded, but there's a Widow on the board. Yeah, that was dangerous. No. We can't do that. She's way too dangerous. When they have that, like, you have to keep in mind what you're poking into here. Your team is leaving. So you're creating a situation where McCree and Widow versus you. We don't like that. Your team is gone. Your team's gone. Widow's unpeaked for a second, but she'll be back. McCree's here. I don't even know that I want that fight. You could take that fight if it was truly isolated, but it's not. Her respawns are going to be coming out and joining hers, whereas yours are much less likely to come back. They're retreating to set up for the next fight. And then you took a bunch of damage there, and again, these guys are coming through, and sure enough, by poking through this, you're eventually peeking into a 1v4, a 1v5, a 1v3, into a 1v you don't know what, and one of them is a Widow. We can't do that. We can't do that.
Name. Get healed.
You have the Harmony Orb, and because you have the Harmony Orb, I'm going to say don't nade here. I know I've said self-healing nades are fine, and they are, but because you are in fact getting healed, go ahead and just hit a regular shot on your McCree. It's not hard. Your Reinhardt, one dart will get your Reinhardt to basically full, in fact. And so your Reinhardt's not in any danger. He has cover available if he wants it. Your McCree is tech find cover. You have plenty of time to get 2 to 3 shots off to heal these guys off. And that is much cheaper than using your nade. And you need to be using this time to pull back, to rotate backwards.
Get healed.
Nope. Because this nade didn't help us. It healed them, but it just healed them. It's not like our Reinhardt is now taking a bunch of damage that we need to keep healing him through, that we need this up arrows benefit from. That's not what's going on. Okay, I'm going slow. I should probably pick up the pace.
Take your medicine.
Back it up.
Walk it off. Get in there. You're bogged down. Get in there.
Okay. You nanoed a diva who is already boostering in, so I'm okay with that. Nano was fine. But again, you're way too close to the fight.
It'll take more than that to keep me out of the fight. I'm on my way.
Better, but still not good. So we don't want to go into the open, but really, we have a pretty good feeling that these guys are here, even if we didn't know that. As soon as we see them, oh shoot, and we want to get back behind cover. Because if you look at our team is nowhere near ready. We still have these two guys. Our tanks are back there. We're flipped again. We're in front of our tanks. We don't like that. We don't want to be on our tanks' heels. We don't want to be standing on top of our tanks. We definitely don't want to be in front of our tanks in most situations. Even though our Ashe is pushing up into a good position, she's not there yet. Even though you have someone up here, you're not set yet. Your tanks are back here. Your Ashe is about 2 seconds from being ready, and you're opening the angle. Not like because, I mean, maybe because you aggressively want to fight them, but you're opening the angle like it's time, like you're ready to take this fight. And this is going to create a situation where these guys can 6v1 you, can 6v2 you and McCree. We don't want that. Maybe McCree's made a mistake by being in here. Looks like McCree's rotating and is about to pull the trigger in a second, which is a mistake on his part. But you don't want to double down on this mistake. You want to go, nope, I'll wait, and then we'll take the engage as a 5v6. We'll take the engage as a 4v6. Not we'll take the engage as a 2v6 or maybe a 3v6. We really would prefer to take it as a 6v6. But if McCree feeds, we might not have that option. We might have to take it as a 5v6 instead. You don't need to join him in feeding, though. Yep. I don't mind the offensive shot, but you're taking the offensive shot when your team isn't here, and their response is going to be disproportionate to your single shot or to your double shot. They have 4, 5, 6 people that can pay attention to you.
You need to fall back. Go. I give you the experience.
Okay, you can push up while you have the trance going on, but then you know that the trance is going to end. Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know that the trance only lasts 6 seconds, so as you get to the point where you know the trance is going to end, you'd want to start getting yourself over to cover. Oh, there's someone here. How weird. But that's how you'd be thinking about it. All good. Was aiming Nano for Rein? I wondered about that. If you were aiming that Nano for the Rein, which it sounds like you were, your Rein wasn't in quite hard enough yet to justify it. You really want to Nano people when they're already in, when they're already going in at the very least, not to tell people to go in. And your Rein was sort of here and was kind of planted here-ish. And there was then like this window and then opponents over here. That's not quite an accurate representation, but that's pretty close to how it was. And Udiva was using boosters, so actually nanoing her was fine because she was clearly going in. She was going to be on someone. Your Reinhardt would have been like a, Ryan, I would like you to push. And you don't nano people to tell them to push. You nano them to go, hey, they're already pushing. Let me nano them to make their push better. Because otherwise, the opponents will start reacting and start kiting by the time your Ryan realizes he's nanoed and starts going forward. And then as he's trying to cover all this distance, much of your nano time will be wasted with them kiting. And we don't want to nano just for positioning. That's not good enough.
Get in there. Take your medicine.
Okay. You're welcome.
The pain.
Activating self-destruct sequence. Suiting up.
30 seconds.
So, again, let's look at how this is going on. Watch your position relative to your team. Your D.Va threw in a self-destruct. That does make space for your team. But it doesn't make so much space for your team that you should be do-si-doing with your tanks. You don't need to be do-si-doing with your tanks. You don't need to be pushing up past your tanks here. You see this? How you're like even with your tanks? Your Zen and Ana take very similar positioning, almost identical positioning, in fact. You don't want to, relative to their team anyways, you don't want to be up here with your tanks really at all. What you want to do is you want to be playing back with distance, sort of behind your tanks so that you can heal them, and then you might take an off angle to get your abilities off, to get an offensive shot or two off. But that's an off angle. Like, hey, maybe I'm up here. Maybe I'm up here. Maybe they're pushing through here, and my off angle is maybe they're pushing down here. That's a bad example. Maybe the opponents are here pushing this way. My team is set up like this, and my off angle is over here. So it's a little bit of an off angle. Maybe I get aggressive and slip up here just for a moment to throw a nade, and then I go back type thing. We don't want to get like up here, though, literally right with our tanks to deliver this stuff, to deliver the payload, the nade, the sleep dart, whatever it's going to be. That's not what we want. We can off angle a little bit, and you might think this is an off angle, but we really don't want to close the distance that much. We want to change the angle. It's sort of a beginner trap as Ana to go, when I want to do offensive stuff, I get closer to the enemy. We don't get closer to the enemy. We take an angle against the enemy when we want to do offensive stuff as Ana. And then we mostly revert back to our previous spot. Yeah. Oh no, you didn't tuck left.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
You can press the I need healing button. Press it, press it. Good. Go to cart. Okay, you can try to get out. Fine.
You're powered up. Get in.
No. Again, you're nanoing a retreating target. Nanoing a retreating target doesn't do us a ton of good. Nice. Nice.
Taught you to fight like that.
If it turns the fight, it works out. That doesn't mean conceptually we want to do it, but if it turns the fight, it does. And when I say we don't want nano rotating target, that's not totally fair. Like, if your Ashe is being dove by a D.Va, which is sort of what that situation is, you can go, okay, I'm going to turn this fight. The D.Va is using her boosters to close on my Ashe, and I am going to nano my Ashe to make them better so that they don't have to retreat to turn it. So now that the D.Va is in a bad situation, like, that is a thing that you can do, but you would generally want not the entire fight to feel like you're retreating. And that entire fight felt like you were losing, felt like you were retreating, so that doesn't turn it. You can break a Winston, a Ball, a D.Va jumping on your Ashe, your Hanzo, your McCree, your Zen by nanoing them. Like, that's perfectly valid, but generally you're not going to do it in a fight that it feels like you're losing as a whole. You're going to use it as the answer to the dive, to turn the dive into, oh, you thought you were getting the advantage by diving us. We actually have the advantage by you're now closed in on this person that has nano. And it may have been perfectly fine there, but it shouldn't feel like you're losing the entirety of the fight when you do it. You shouldn't expect that to like hard turn a fight that you're losing in other areas. That's fine.
Ready for battle.
Sorry, I know I'm getting a little niche, a little complicated here with some of this stuff, but we'll keep it moving. Hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, bark up in chat, and you know, I'll try to explain it differently.
I can't wait to get into the fight.
Greetings.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
No. You know there's a Widowmaker.
Defend objective A.
Perfect. We're not going to re-peak this when we just lost our Zen to a Widowmaker. Because that means even if we think our nade is great, even if we think we can hit multiple people with this nade, the nade itself isn't likely to eliminate anyone, and we chance getting eliminated by that same Widowmaker. So we're not really willing to peak this. Let D.Va pull attention before you peak this. Okay. It's fine. Don't open the angle.
The pain is coming.
Sure. Now close the angle. Yeah. So your weapon really isn't very good for Berry Break. Like, to the point at which you almost don't even... You really, most of the time, don't concern yourself with it. Okay.
I will keep you here.
You're gonna sleep immediately? Yeah. That worked because she wasn't aware of you. She's about to wake up? Yep. So again, you knew she was gonna wake up, so you didn't want to end this when she's gonna wake up here. You wanted to end this when you know she's gonna wake up, like here or here, where you have a little more option to go. I can line of sight her with the car, I can continue to heal my Reinhardt. You don't want to be here, where now you're in this ugly situation where, fortunately, the D.Va's a distraction, but you have enemy pushing you from this direction, and enemy that attention will push this direction. And we don't want to be here. If we're out here, enemy attention pushing this way and this way is really all the same thing to you. The same car cover works for you to block all of it. We want to limit the number of angles that we can be shot from. Keep the Ryan between you and her. You're immediately going to nade. Good try. I don't know why you tried to melee that, but okay. Yeah, so again, this isn't going to work. It's decisive. You're like, yeah, we need more offensive power. I'm going to get in here close and do this. No, there's not more you can do here. It's unfortunate, but heck. That's fine. Maybe you were just trying to reset on point.
I'm on my way. I wasn't cut out for retirement anyways.
I don't really like that nade, but hey. Okay, they're not looking at you, so you can open and immediately double tap this Widow to make her leave. I would strongly recommend it. In fact, I know you want to heal your team. Good, Widow. Widow. No, not the tank! Not the tank! Beautiful. Now I'm actually not even interested in this Sigma. I'm interested in dropping my scope to try to get over here to heal my team. But so be it.
This will only
Nice.
work for a minute.
But you see how this worked? This didn't work because you were close. It worked because you were different than your team. Your D.Va was here pulling most of the enemy attention. So everyone was looking at her, and you're threatening from a very different angle than your D.Va. It's not because you're close, it's because you're on a very different angle than your D.Va. And then when the second part of this happens, that you also contribute well during, it's again, your nade isn't working here because you're close, it's working here because your Reinhardt is threatening them from here when you're threatening them from here. And the McCree is like, I gotta pay attention to that. And the Sigma's like, I gotta pay attention to that. And the Orisa is paying attention to your baby D.Va over here. So like, it's an attention divided thing. It's not a distance. You could throw this nade just as well, and I'd actually prefer you threw this nade from like here, where you have the option to hop behind cover, as opposed to these couple steps closer. And it would have been just as easy to hit this nade, and it would have been just as successful.
This will only hurt. Down to objective.
Don't need to be here. If you're trying to help your D.Va, I suppose you can be. Yeah, there you go. But that was kind of predictable. The real key was to keep our Reinhardt alive, and we have much better... It's more can more consistently keep our Reinhardt alive from here, unless he goes into the room. But hey, he shouldn't really go into the room.
That's much
Do you hear the
better.
Kree? Do you hear the Kree? You have your tools. No, you need to heal. We're not going to try to shoot the moth out of the sky. No, no. You risked losing your Reinhardt there because you were trying to shoot out the moth. So, again, we don't really want to challenge the BAP that we can see is already lined up the shot on us. We can take our parting shot and leave, but we're instead just going to change the angle and go, oh, he's paying attention to me. Cool. So I'll change my angle, and I'll just go heal my team for a bit. And then when he gets bored, because he will very quickly get bored, the point's under pressure, he will go to do something else like shoot at your team. Then you can open the angle back up and shoot at him. But we don't need to take the firefight at him with him. Make him do something else. We don't really want to take a prolonged firefight where we're trading health, because most people can do more damage in a poke war than we can if we don't get the jump on them, which he can.
On my way.
No, no, no. I don't want to continue to fight him, especially at half health. I'm going to nade myself before I do that. Myself. I'm going to nade myself before I do that.
Eyes on the bad guys.
Activating self-destruct beacon.
Objective A, my ultimate is fully charged. Get in there. The payload.
Come on. Payload's on the way.
This will help. This will
Free mode.
Okay, so right now you have distance. You're playing behind your team. That's good.
Is my will.
And you don't need to get much closer. You're good here. We don't need to keep getting closer. Okay. Fine. And this is great. We can see from here. We can do what we need to.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine. You're powered up. Get in there.
Bob isn't an amazing nano target because Bob doesn't really defend himself from CC. Like, Bob can be okay as a nano target, but you're going to get better. You're going to get better nano targets. If we look at how this fight is going to unfold, Bob went in. Cool.
It's just a scratch.
You might like,
You'll be
eh.
fine.
You've probably adopted to nanoing Bob because Bob hits his shots. This is pretty low bronze. Other people who hit their shots are Reinhardts who are already in swinging range and divas who are already on top of their opponents. Just saying. I
You're
might not
powered
want to
up.
adapt
Get
that.
in there.
And your Reinhardt is over here for some reason. Swatting at things. Okay. Okay. I don't love this. I don't love this Bob usage, and then you're backing up this Bob, but okay. That wasn't the nade. Why was that the nade?
It's just a scratch. You're powered up.
Nano?
Get in there.
And then we nade over here. And worst comes to worst, he eats your nade with a shift. Oh well. He's not blocking your nade with his barrier, but he eats your nade with your shift. But you throw your nade over here. You could try to weave it through here, but it's too likely to explode on something. It's a rather delicate nade. Just throw your nade in here at him. We don't need our nade over here. Don't know why our nade's going over here. There's all sorts of barriers over there. There's your nano Bob. I don't need to heal my Bob back up. If they spend time shooting at the nano Bob, that's perfectly fine with you.
Walk it off.
He's going to go away at some point anyway. And he was going to get healed up by the coalescence anyway. We didn't need to nade him. Nano auto aim is pretty powerful at bronze. Fair, fair.
Its destination.
Why are we Okay. Again, we're closer to this than we need to
Walk
be.
it off.
Like, here we are.
It's just you're powered up.
We've
Get
done
in
that. We don't even have more we bring to the fight by getting closer. Like, we're done. We've contributed all, like, I know I've said don't get closer to unleash your abilities, take angles, and that's true. But now you've even unleashed one of your abilities. Why are you still walking forward at this? Why are you still walking forward? Like, again, from over here, you had the option. Your Reinhardt should be walking forward. Your Ashe should be getting herself up over here. But you should be chilling back here, scoping in and going, hey, my team is threatening this angle with a coalescence, with a Bob. And me, I'm threading the needle, shooting my scoped shots down here. And if my Moira takes damage, maybe I'll throw a quick shot at her. But I'm damaging here. My team is damaging like this, they're unhappy. If you've got good angles, you're going to make a team very, very unhappy. If you walk into the fight, they can get you. They can take you down. This fight that your team is winning pretty hard right now, despite your team being AFK on cart, becomes a little more in question when you put yourself up here. Because when you put yourself up here,
The payload is
things can happen like, oh, there's a McCree in your face. And you might be able to react and sleep him in time, but if he'd flashed you, you couldn't have. Yeah, again, your Reinhardt is too passive. Like, I understand your Reinhardt is passive and it's frustrating, but even so, like, you're even considering how passive he is, you're getting aggressive. You're getting too aggressive. Like, the single best thing that you could do to level up your Ana play would be to play further back in most situations. Again, if we want to use our ability power into the enemy team, and they're here, and our team is, say, here, or here, or here, we are down here, we do not do this. This is not what we do. We instead take a little bit of an off angle. Maybe we go over here to get our ability off. Maybe we go over here to get our ability off. And then maybe we work our way back, or maybe we work our way part way back. Like, this is a nice type of area for us to be in. We do not want to go up here to try to drop off our ability power. That is going to let us potentially get off our ability power, though actually worse than you think. It's not that amazing, but it's going to get us into trouble too often compared to this. Angles are really good in Overwatch. You're a sniper. You have lots of range on your abilities. Sleep Dart will go quite, we'll go a distance. Nade will go quite a distance. You have a sniper rifle. We really want to use our angles, and we don't want to run up, because then when we run up, we're sort of surrounded. We're in this situation where the enemies get access to us, and we also can't really see what's behind us anymore. So if we're here, and like our Ashe is up over here shooting at the enemies from here, if we take an angle, like here or here, we can heal our Ashe if she gets into trouble. If we go up here, we don't even know that our Ashe has been dove by the opposing D.Va, that a Genji showed up on our Ashe, and we definitely can't help her. We can't support her in that engagement to win. So we really want to understand, even when you want more offensive power, when you want to get your team to push harder, it's about, hey, let me find a slightly different angle to contribute from. And defensively, that could be, hey, sometimes your team will just give it to you like they did here. Your team was fighting from this angle, so you playing main and shooting down here would have been a different angle. Like, that's fine. Other times it could be, hey, my team is on defense, their other team is pushing through here, maybe I want to play from up here. This is now a different angle than my team. Or I can play from back here. This is a different angle than my team. If you wanted to play from back here, perfectly fine. Different angle than your team. If you want to play from here and go, I'll make it a little more extreme, that's perfectly fine. This isn't an amazing point for off angles, but I'm still emphasizing the point because it's much, much better, even when you can't get great off angles, to do that rather than to try to just get closer. If you get closer, it's also still not going to work great as you get better, because teammates are going to get in the way of your nades, which we want to make more purples and less team healing stuff, more often if you just try to get closer to throw nades. If you take a little bit of an off angle, you're going to get a clear path to get that nade off, to see what you want to get your sleep dart on. And it's going to be a bit more of a surprise to the enemy, because it's not a direction that they were defending as hard against, that their eyes were looking in, that their shield was up in. It's a little more, it was over there. Well, my defense matrix was this way type thing. So that's going to be your single biggest thing. And even though this wasn't the best map for figuring it out, you can still understand how it works, where you go, hey, if my team is here, I don't want to shoot the same direction as my team. I can totally shoot the same direction as my team. But then if I want to get my ability power, maybe I do swing out for this, and then I back up to my spot. That's how we think about it. So that's the first biggest thing. And that is the most important. And that is the most important. What we're going to do to reinforce that as your second thing, and this will reinforce the first thing quite nicely, is we want you to play around cover. We want you to play where you have cover available. So it's like, I'm Ana, I can play with cover. This can be my screen on defense. This can be my screen on the early part of defense. This can be my screen on offense. This can be my screen on offense. And maybe if I got greedy on offense, I'm contributing, this is my screen, and then I do hit a quick rotation to drop a nade from here. And maybe then that nade opens things up enough that the team pushes forward and I'm able to rotate back to here. But like, we want to have cover on our screen. So part of our screen has cover. We don't want to be here. We don't want to be here. We want to be here. We want to be here. And we want to be at the piece of cover that isn't, enemies immediately on the other side. We want to be at the piece of cover that gives us some distance. So we could be here. If the enemies are on the other side of car, we might be here. But this cover is really, really good, and you're going to get eliminated less. And getting eliminated less is one of the first steps. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the first steps to getting better at Overwatch. Nice! And then we have a super chat coming in from Nyan Rar for 250 euro. I may coach a pack of tea. Perfect. I very much appreciate that. I very much appreciate the 250 coming in there for a pack of tea, I say as I drink my coffee. Tea is good, though. Tea is very good. I do like tea. I just tend to, I don't know, I've generally had coffee around me. I've done coffee more often, but tea is quite good. Okay. So yes, this first thing, again, Angles, if we want to get more offensive power, we go for our angles. We don't close distance. We don't get closer. The second thing, after you've got this sort of mentally ingrained in your play style, you've played like 20 games, 15 games really thinking about this, and you've found that you don't run up into the team fight for no reason anymore, or run up into the team fight to use your abilities. You instead go like this to use your abilities. Then you're going to start thinking about, okay, do I always have cover near me? Do I always know what my cover is? If the opposing McCree starts shooting at me, I can tuck behind this cover. If the opposing Ash starts shooting at me, I can tuck behind this cover. That's going to be the second thing that I'm going to want you to work on. Second thing I'm going to want you to work on is going to be that right there. And I think that's where I'm going to stop. I think those are the two things I'm going to give you. We could talk about your nanos. We could talk about your nades. We could talk about your target selection when you go for offensive shots, and that's probably what I'd actually do. I'd probably really remind you to think about, hey, if I have multiple target options with my offensive shots, I would prefer to shoot at a squishy rather than a tank. Shooting at a tank isn't wrong when that's what's there, but I'd prefer you to shoot at a squishy. But I really wouldn't weigh yourself down with that. I'd focus on these first two things first. They're going to take you a lot further in terms of the payoff that you get from them. But after you've worked on them, if you're like, oh, I need something to work on, I really feel like I've got these two things down, you could go into, okay, now I'm going to work on making a habit out of shooting at the squishies rather than the tanks when it comes to my offensive shots as Ana. Or you could come find Temporal and be like, hey, I want to get some lessons. I want to do this. How do we do this? And we can figure that out. Okay. If people have questions, or if you have questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. If people are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, that's pound, not euro. Thank you. That is 250 pounds. Thank you. Words are hard. If you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, things like that we have going on, all that good stuff. 9 equals Val. I know, Val. I know. Would you prefer I refer to you as Val when you're there? Like, I sort of do it so there's continuity if people understand when they're reading chat, etc., but I know that that's you. Pound is worth even more. Good stuff. Positioning is one of the hardest things for me, but arrows are helping a lot. Okay, I'm glad that they're helping. So yeah, you are, remember, you're a granny sniper. You don't want to get close to the fight. You have a sniper rifle, you're elderly, your bones might be a little soft, your body doesn't have the wherewithal that it used to. We want to stay further away from the fight and use that sniper rifle. That's what we want to do as the granny. 19 watchers, 20 watchers now, and 5 likes. I think we could get a couple more likes there, guys. I think we could. From Sezo, hey Temporal, came in late but wanted to stop by and thank you so much for your reviews. That gold Moira review helped my Moira so much. Excellent. I'm thrilled to hear that. I am thrilled to hear that. And yes, I certainly remember that review, so I'm really glad that that one paid off. Thank you. I'm 581 ATM, so hopefully I can do better to get out of it. You definitely can. You're at 581. You just have to work on these big picture concepts, stay further away from the fight, don't get eliminated as much. What do you know? You'll start winning more games. Like, big picture concepts, one at a time. I know it can be tough. I know it's super unpredictable. You get things like the Ryan you had here who's sitting on the cart while your team is hard fighting. That's going to happen down at 581, but you'll be able to get your way out of there if you stay dedicated and sort of focus on your game and improving your stuff, and don't get too caught up in, oh my god, how was I supposed to win this particular game where the opponents had a smurf or where my team was just running off the edge or whatever the case may be. Don't worry about that. Just focus on your thing. It's all the same below 1000 SR? Been playing for just over a month, first FPS 2. Okay. Looks reasonable. We can teach you some good habits, teach you about the power of angles, teach you about, how that works. The team with more and better angles tends to win. Start getting you into some good crosshair habits in terms of holding it at the right height for headshots, in terms of holding it, where people are likely to appear. But we're not going to get into that yet. Let's do just a couple things at a time for you here. My team is running off the edge. Well, it's usually just the ride. Lots of new viewers today. I'm happy to see it. Speaking of which, if you guys have questions, again, throw them up now. I will be launching into another review right after this one, so do stick around. But let's go ahead and answer any final questions that come in here. Because the population is so small, it's literally the same. You match, yeah, no, you do, but that's the same as high GM. I mean, that's exactly how it works on both sides of the distribution. Bronze and GM, I mean, bronze is a bigger distribution than GM in terms of how their tail has been done for the distribution, but yes, it's like that on both sides of the ladder. It's only in the middle when your games really start mixing up significantly. Habit building now is going to be important. I still need better reload management myself. Yep, just got to focus on it. Random question. What do I do if my tanks waste my nano and hold their ults? Well, they don't have to use their ults when you nano them. That's okay. But the way that you make your tanks not waste your nano is you nano your tanks when they're already doing the right thing. When your Reinhardt is already swinging at the opponent, if you nano him, he's very likely to continue swinging at the opponent. If you nano your D.Va, who's already dove the opposing Hanzo, the opposing Ana, whatever, and is in their face, who's already using their boosters to get to them, they're very likely to continue doing the right thing. Most of the time when your nanos get wasted, it's because you're nanoing someone who isn't engaged yet, isn't engaging yet, and you're trying to tell them to engage. You're trying to give them a swift kick to the butt and say, hey, go engage. And they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to chill. Yeah, that's most of the time what's happening when your stuff is nanoed. If you're nanoing people when they're already engaged, it's not going to be wasted very often. Even if they don't use their ults. They don't have to use their ult just because they're nanoed. Blow 1000 SR is really crazy. The skill gap is huge. Throwers, smurfs, and everything in between. I hear you. Basically, bronze is like GM. There you go. As a support, how do you play in low SR games like this? I came in late, but do you pump a lot of heals, or as a supporter, do you be more aggressive? I mean, you play the game right. Like, you play the game right, you make sure that you don't get eliminated, you make sure to wrench open opportunities that are there. If you play the game correctly, you will make it worse. Is there going to be more opportunity for offensive stuff because your opponent's positioning absolutely sucks? Yes. Yes, there is. But if you play the game correctly, it'll work. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to specifically go play, let me flank behind the enemy team Zenyatta or Ana or something and go wild like that. If you play it standard but right, you'll do just fine. Nano the Mercy or Lucio instead. But you do get a little more conscious of like, hey, I want more reliable targets. I might not be willing to nano my Ashe in an aggressive position because maybe I'm not sure she'll hit shots, so maybe I'm more likely to nano the Rein in an aggressive position instead. Things like that. Can confirm as an anime, this is the answer. Valk Mercy Nano is actually decent. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not amazing, but hey. Depends on the Mercy, but it can be either extreme. Mercies deserve to have fun sometimes too. Absolutely. It'll work 60% of the time. That's not enough to climb very slowly. Too much fun. Too much fun. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Do I see anything else here? I do not. Thank you once again for the super chat there, Val. And we are good to go. And we will be heading into another VOD here, so I will see you guys shortly. Thanks. Temporal out.